Good evening, everybody. This is our group, Innovate, Ali, Muhammad, and Ahmed. I'm going to start a presentation today. We're going to start the presentation today by a little story. It's actually about Gaza in the year 2008. In the year 2008, Gaza was being struck by the Israeli Air Forces, and that was after 6 months of ceasefire. And that has resulted in several civilian casualties, reaching around 1,400 deaths. So we are going to continue now. Now what's going on? Or what are we going to discuss today? But what we're going to discuss today is actually the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum has actually made a debate about the issue of Gaza, and to give you like a glimpse about what the World Economic Forum is about, it's actually being held every year, and this economic forum deals with all the problems that we face worldwide, economic problems mostly, and it is attended by the most prominent people worldwide, business people, political people, and many other prominent people. So our debate today that we're going to discuss is called the discussion about Gaza. It was moderated by the columnist in the Washington Post. That columnist is called David Ignatius. David Ignatius moderated the talk between Recep Tayyip Erdogan, the Prime Minister of Turkey, and he also was there in the debate, Mr. Shimon Peres, the President of Israel, and Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General of the United Nations, and Amr Moussa, the Secretary General of the Arab League. Okay, we continue now by giving you a glimpse about the two most important people in the debate. The two most important people in the debate are the Prime Minister of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and President of Israel, Shimon Peres. Let's take a look at a little profile or brief profile about Erdogan. Erdogan is actually known to be having an Islamic or an Islamist background. He's known to be an Islamist. And he was once mayor of Istanbul, the capital of Turkey. He is actually now the party administrator of the party called Justice and Development. And he recently has been intermediating the Israeli-Syrian peace process. Let's take a look at the President of Israel. President of Israel, actually, he has headed many very important positions in Israel. This includes many military positions, being the deputy chief of the naval forces of Israel, and many other positions that are important as that, and actually more important. And he won a Nobel Prize in 1994 for participating in the peace process, and he was twice the Prime Minister of Israel, and now he's the President of Israel. Ahmed is going now to be representing Erdogan in telling or discussing what he was talking about. Then I'm going to compare it with what Peres has said in the speech, and we're going to go that way. Okay, Ahmed, start with Erdogan.
Thank you. Let us think about how can someone like Erdogan come in that session, and how will he think, what is he going to deliver in that speech. I think that Erdogan can, in order to support the Palestinians, this is his general objective. He wants to support the Palestinians. And in order to achieve that objective, he has to increase the awareness of the whole world rather than the Arabs, in order to support more for the Palestinians. And he wants to increase Turkey rule in the Middle East and the Israeli-Arab conflicts, in order to introduce a new perspective in the Middle East. And in order to achieve those action objectives, he should make the media tolerate and make many controversies about the Middle East problem and about the people in Gaza, and again to gain more support for Turkish people in order to apply his perspective in the Middle East.
Okay, now we talk about Perez. Perez had a different objective in that debate for sure, based on the backgrounds that we discussed. Perez's main goal or main message from that debate was that Israel wants peace. He worked, or he managed to prove that by saying that, or by making the audience believe that Hamas is a terrorist group. And to prove that Hamas is a terrorist group, we go by the following steps. Hamas is the source of the problem, it started the problem, it's actually the one fighting, and Israel is having actually just a reactive role in just fighting back the rockets of Hamas, and they are just reacting. Now continue the communicator style, Ahmed.
In order to decide on the communicator style for Erdogan, let's mention that in his speech he wants to make a proposal. So he wants to introduce something new for the people, and so he wants to to persuade them of a new thing. So it's more till or until style.
Okay, similarly, Perez did the same thing. He actually had a message, and he wanted to convey that message. Whatever he heard, something against that message, he has to refute it and say his point and prove his point. And he was focused on his point, and therefore he's having a tertiary approach as Erdogan was having.
Talk about the message strategy. Erdogan started by, firstly, he was asked by David Ignatius, the moderator, what do you think of the solution to the problems in the Middle East? He started by saying, in order to solve that question, I want to analyze the problem first. So he didn't want to make his vision directly. So he started by mentioning some facts about the Arab-Israeli conflict. Then he started to analyze that conflict, and in the end he proposed his ideas of making democratic actions in Gaza and in Palestine generally, and to respect the result of the election. In order to prove so, in order to make the audience believe in his message, he used previous experience. So people before Erdogan came to that speech, they knew well how he participated in mediating the negotiation between Israel and Syria. So he has some experience, and Turkey has good relations with Israel. So they have initial credibility. They know that he will be very fair, and he will be very independent and in achieving his message. Also, he used some facts to emphasize his credibility. He used some facts like his visit to Israel, and he was forced to stay in his car for half an hour, and so he used facts about himself in the problem. Also, he tried to attach himself to other Israeli sources in order to attack Peres, in order to make people feel bad about Peres. For example, he mentioned a quote from an Israeli professor, which is Eli Shalim. He said that Israel is a rogue state. You can see when you attach yourself to another person, and the other person is friend of the person you are attacking, so it's very credible. You are very credible after that. And the other thing is a quote from the Torah, when he said, "Thou shalt not kill." This is the sixth commandment of the 10 commandments of the Israeli book, Torah. So by doing so, he emphasized his initial credibility. Also, he used the acquired credibility.
Okay, now discussing about Perez, about his message, his main message. He said it at the end, that Israel wants peace. He said it at the end. So he's using the same approach as Erdogan used it. It's indirect approach in stating the message. He used some arguments to prove his points. He said that Hamas is using humans as shields. For example, in the United Nations building that has been struck by Israel, there has been Hamas militants hiding that building, as Perez said. And that's why Israel has struck that building. And he also stated his own experience about what's happening in after the Gazan borders has been opened to Israel. And he stated his own experience. He said, I saw the blood and I saw the bodies and I saw the mess that happened when I opened the borders for the Gazans to go to Israel to get the supplies for themselves. And he also had codes of the Charter of Hamas, and this is a very powerful code that he uses it to accuse Hamas of not actually desiring peace and not pursuing peace. The code is the day of judgment will not come about until the Muslims kill the Jews, when the Jews will hide behind stones and trees. This is Hamas's charters. So accordingly, he says to Erdogan, what kind of Hamas are you talking about? You think I'm going to make peace with those people? Then he also makes quotes of Palestinian sources called Yasser Abdurrahman. Yasser Abdurrahman is the Secretary General of the Palestinian Liberation Organization. He says that Hamas is actually killing people from the Fatah movement, and they are imprisoning them, torturing them, and they are actually giving only supplies to those people who support their movement. So he uses a very strong approach in quoting other people, and this is how he used it. Okay, Muhammad now is going to continue with how the situation ended.
How did this end? Well, Perez was actually allowed to speak more than Erdogan. However, Erdogan left a lasting message, and that was felt across the street. But according to Perez, he was allowed to speak more than Musa and Erdogan. And if you look at the video link, we were able to see a clip of that speech. Continue on how this has ended. We're going to look at the non-verbal skills of Perez and Erdogan. For Perez, he used certain annotations. One of the annotations was a strong voice tone. Those strong voice tone it's basically Israel never started a bullet. And the second one was a wandering tone, or almost like a confused tone, like as if he's saying, what were the reasons for that? Stating as for Hamas's attacks, which was almost like he doesn't know what's going on, and he's not aware of what's going on exactly. For Erdogan, he used several tones. Those several tones he's not aware of what's going on exactly. For Erdogan, he used several tones. Those several tones have either it's a strong tone or weak tone. For the weak tone or the softer tone, it's basically if he wants to go a little bit more in analysis, trying to explain the situation. If he wants to go a little bit more in analysis, trying to explain the situation. On the stronger tone, he's trying to make a point and be more emotional. He was giving a more of an emotional basis on the stronger tones. Also, he pointed to Perez several times to denote that he's the cause, or he's putting accusations to Perez. And he used several stops, and those several stops is to make the argument sink in to people, and so people can realize what he's talking about. Now, after the speech, Erdogan was talked about in the media and among people, especially at the very last portion. If we look at Erdogan, the very last part was very powerful, and he gained a lot of popularity in his country. And actually, one of the slogans, which you can actually think you can see it here, is that you'll never walk alone again, which is a message to Erdogan, coming from the people, saying that you're not alone. It's a slogan that he was associated with. And the controversy in the media that followed after the speech was very huge. And actually, I saw an article recently regarding the speech and its effect that happened afterwards. People have been discussing about this, especially the very last portion of the effects that he had. People are confused. Is Erdogan a pro-Islamist and he's going to go on the Iran track, or because of that speech, or is he still going to go on the Western track because of the Turkish agenda? And now we have our